You ever feel like you're being watched? Like there's something just beyond your sight lurking where you can't see? Now imagine finding out that feeling was real. This is the true story of someone who discovered they weren't alone in their own home. The man in the vents was always there, waiting, watching. We all like to believe our homes are safe, that once we lock the doors and shut the windows, nothing can get in. But what if something was already inside? This is the chilling account of a young woman who started hearing strange noises in her apartment, whispers in the dark, faint scratching behind the walls, the eerie sensation of eyes watching her when no one else was there. She thought she was imagining things. She wasn't. The truth was far, far worse than she could have ever imagined. It started with small things, a misplaced set of keys, a half-opened cabinet she was sure she'd closed, the sound of something faint, almost imperceptible, like a distant shuffle. Claire, a 24-year-old student living alone in a small one-bedroom apartment, chalked it up to paranoia. She had just moved in and was still getting used to living alone. Then, one night, she woke up gasping for air, convinced she had heard something whisper her name. At first, Claire tried to ignore it. Maybe it was the neighbors. Maybe the walls were thin. Maybe she was just imagining things. But the noises didn't stop. Late at night she would hear it, soft, rhythmic tapping like fingers drumming against a hard surface. It always seemed to come from inside the vents. She mentioned it to her landlord, who brushed it off, saying it was just old pipes settling or rats scurrying through the ducts. But deep down, Claire knew it was neither. There was something alive in there. Something human. One night she set up her phone to record while she slept, hoping to catch whatever was making the noise. What she found the next morning sent ice through her veins. The video showed her sleeping peacefully, the room dimly lit by her nightlight. Then, at around 3:17 a.m., the vent cover at the far end of the room shifted, just slightly. Then, slowly, impossibly, a pale hand crept through the opening, curling its long fingers around the edges of the vent. The hand lingered there for nearly a full minute before retreating back into the darkness. Claire barely had time to process what she had seen before a new horror settled in. Whoever, or whatever, was inside the vents knew she was watching. That night she barricaded the vent with furniture. She barely slept, her mind racing with possibilities. Who was in there? How long had they been hiding? And what did they want? The next night, Claire called a friend over, too afraid to be alone. Together, they decided to unscrew the vent cover and shine a flashlight inside. The moment the beam hit the darkness, they saw it, something moving, retreating further into the ductwork. A man. His face was gaunt, his eyes wild and sunken. He scurried back like an animal, disappearing into the network of vents before they could react. Claire and her friend bolted from the apartment, calling the police. When authorities arrived and searched the vent system, what they found was beyond disturbing. Deep within the ducts, they uncovered a small makeshift nest, old blankets, rotting food scraps, even a notebook filled with incoherent ramblings. But the worst part, there were pages, dozens of them, filled with detailed notes about Claire. What time she left the apartment, what she wore, when she showered, what she did in the privacy of her own home. The man had been living there for months, watching her every move. Claire never returned to that apartment. She moved out immediately, still haunted by the thought of what could have happened if she had never noticed the signs. The man in the vents was arrested, but the damage was done. She would never again feel safe in her own home. If you ever hear something strange in your walls, check twice. And if you enjoyed this story, subscribe for more terrifying real-life nightmares.